Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Diana and today I thought I'd try something new. I thought it would be really nice to just share some insights that I've come across over the last few weeks and months from my favorite content creators, my family and friends, and just random places in general that I found really valuable and that I think will be valuable to you guys as well. The general theme is purpose. And I know that's a bit of an abstract concept and some people don't really even believe in it. So I think a better title to give it would be, what do I do with my life? My first bit of advice to you when trying to figure out what it is that you're going to do is to check your mentality. First, be positive about whatever scenario that you're in. And secondly, believe that you can succeed and that you will. I will never forget one of the first psychology lessons that I ever took in A level. I remember my psychology teacher posed a scenario to the class, and it was that there had been a bank robbery, and in that bank robbery somehow you had ended up being the only person that got shot. And she asked the question, do you consider that lucky or unlucky? And I remember I was one of the first people to speak up, and I quite quickly said, that is awful, that is so unlucky. What is the statistic even for you being the only person that would have the chance of getting shot and nobody else in like a room possibly full of hundreds of people? Like, that's terrible. And she responded by saying, well, somebody could look at that exact same scenario and say, well, I'm the only person that got shot in this bank robbery, this crazy situation. I can tell my story to the world and sell my story to the newspapers, get rich, get lucky, you name it. I remember it felt like the first time that my own mentality was just exposed, and I really thought that I'd changed since that day, or that I started to look at things differently, and I really hadn't. But that story just goes a long way in showing how we can all get provided with the same situations, scenarios, whatever, but the outcome of them is dependent on how we see them and our mentality towards them. And along those lines, I believe that it's really important to believe that you can and therefore you will, because stories like that of the Wright brothers or like the man that ran the first 4-minute mile ever are great evidence for how mentalities are really powerful. Before the first man had ever ran a 4-minute mile, everybody thought it would effectively be impossible. But after the first man ran the first 4-minute mile ever, all of a sudden all these people came out and they were running 4-minute miles like it was nothing. And it was simply because people realized that it was actually possible, and a cascade effect happened. Be mindful of your mentality in general towards life and all the things that happen to you. The second bit of advice that I have when figuring out what you want to do with your life or your purpose is to do what comes easiest to you. The things that nobody has to force you to do, the things that you don't mind losing sleep over because you enjoy so much, those are the things that you want to be taking time out to focus on. When you're trying to figure out what you're trying to do, you probably have goals attached to it, like financial freedom, which is one of the most common ones. I remember when I was also trying to figure out what I was going to do with the rest of my life. I had recently just finished reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, and of course there's a lot of emphasis on financial literacy. So when I went away from the book, I decided I wanted to pursue a degree in finance, and I had a conversation with my brother about this. So he said to me, that's really good, but you have to remember that those things that you're trying to attain, which at the time were actually quite arbitrary goals, like just random things that I threw together. But he said that those things that you're trying to attain are actually extremely, extremely difficult. Not impossible, but extremely difficult. And you have to make sure that you enjoy the process of getting to those things, because if they never happen, you don't want to look back on the rest of your life and think, God, I just wasted 30 years of my life doing something that I didn't enjoy and I didn't even end up getting what I wanted. It's not just about the outcome, it's about the process. Let's say you're fortunate enough to figure out exactly what it is that you're super passionate about and that you enjoy doing. The next tip that I have for you is to keep throwing stuff at the wall until it sticks. For example, I can identify that I enjoy content creation, I enjoy clothes, I enjoy makeup, I enjoy learning about science, I enjoy lots and lots of different things. So let's say I decide to focus on content creation, for example. I wonder why. It's not likely that you'll know exactly how to make that successful or how it's going to work. When I first started this channel, I had an idea what I thought I wanted it to be, and it didn't exactly work out that way. And the smarter thing to do would have been to carry on creating content, as random as it may have seemed, or as much as it may not have fitted with my original idea. But a big part of me thought that I had failed and that it was never going to work for me because I just couldn't get content creation right. But it's really important to remember that a lot of things that we start to pursue aren't always going to work out perfectly straight away, and we're not always going to know exactly how to make them work. So it's really important to just keep creating in this field anyway, or to keep trying whatever it is that you are working at, and eventually something will stick. And that consistency is more important than perfection. But just on this topic as well, I am a Christian and I do believe that I have a purpose in life. And when I initially decided to take my faith seriously, that's one of the things that I struggled with the most, is really understanding what my purpose was and what it was that I was supposed to do. Because I was basically saying like, okay, God, I'm here, I'm ready to serve you. What do you want me to do? And I think I've mentioned this before, but the answers do not come easily. And the thing that really came to me was that in whatever it is that you're doing, it's important to just do that to the highest standard that you can, to keep doing it as unto the Lord. And for me, I may not exactly know what it is that God ultimately intends for me, but I may already be operating in my purpose. So whatever it is that I am doing, I need to keep doing it wholeheartedly as unto the Lord, and keep doing it until I figure out what the right thing is. The last bit of advice that I have is, once you've really committed to an idea, tell yourself, no matter what happens for the next 10 years, I'm going to throw everything that I can into this thing, and if it doesn't work, then I will move on. And yes, it does sound like a big commitment, but I do find some relief in seeing that, because initially, whenever you start a venture, a lot of the times, especially if it's something more obscure or something that you're unfamiliar with, anything really, if it's not going to go very well, especially entrepreneurs, I think will know this a lot. I know that because when you first start things like YouTube or Instagram or any other social media platforms, it doesn't, you don't get millions and millions of followers straight away unless you have like the perfect formula. I'm not really sure, but it's not likely going to be amazing straight away. But knowing that, hey, this is year 1 of 10, kind of gives me that mentality, like, okay, I've got a long way to go before I can give up on this thing. And it's a really strange concept, but it honestly really helps me in anything that I've thought to pursue, because obviously it's not just content creation. It's been a really helpful mentality. So that is the last bit of advice that I have to give. I hope you found this really valuable, but that's it for now. I will see you guys soon, hopefully with some more insights and content. Have a lovely day, week, morning, whatever time it is that you're watching this video. Bye.